Because the scripture just said that you would be sold unto your who? Unto your enemies. Which would mean that the so-called black man and the so-called white man are natural enemies. It just didn't start today. Or it just didn't start when we got over here. We have been natural enemies from the day that we were both birthed. Right? Alright? Read. And that's the thing about it, right?
Yeah. Stay strong, I'm a warrior. 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 Stay strong, I'm a warrior.
Die once, live twice. Yeah. Hadn't lost all of my love and my sanity. Vanity told me I'm too hard to handle. Dismantle any opposition, quit playing with me. Brothers hella lame, how they get their name? Israelites lacking integrity. Politics made it to Israel, but it's not spiritual. Why can't I let them get next to me? Chef in the kitchen, he cooking, he cooking, he cooking. These niggas trying to steal a recipe. Look at my weaponry, that is my specialty. Lion of Zion, a Judah full pedigree. Repping my legacy. If I got a body rappers, then Mac, he gon' be the accessory. Judah the gang, and I'm repping it heavily. Vocals the same, but I got a new melody. I'm from the bottom of Rebel to Greffel Street. Haters, they hate me, they really be repping me. Yeah, they really be repping me.
About the Bible.
It seems to be wise sometimes. Most of the time, really.
Most of the time, okay.
At least.
What do you don't like about it? Let's be honest. What do you don't like about the Bible?
It might not feel relevant to real life or current life.
It might not feel. Give me an example.
So, for example, one of the main issues today is men are addicted to the internet or things they might see on the internet. So the many dirty things men might look on the internet, and the Bible does not address that directly. It might talk about lust, it might talk about other things, but it won't address that issue directly because that technology did not exist at the time.
So now, let's say you find something in the Bible that does address looking at stuff like that. Now, how do you feel about the Bible? So if you come to the knowledge that the Bible does in fact address things that you didn't think that it addressed, how does it make you feel about the Bible? Does it make you feel more? Does it make you believe the Bible more? Because a lot of people don't believe the Bible, right? And a lot of it has to do with the so-called white man having his influence on it. Because, quite frankly, you have to be honest, right? If I'm known to lie to people, right? And now I come to you about a business plan, and I'm telling you, yo, we're gonna go 50-50. You're gonna be able to make this much, I'm gonna make that much. It's gonna be questionable, right? Because you're not really, I'm a liar, so to speak, right? But now let's say, okay, you deny the business offer. I go to somebody else, right? And we go into business together. Now my business sells a product, right? And on my product it says, gonna give you energy for 12 hours of the day. You're still thinking about me as a man, and you're looking at that product like, that might be a lie too. So anything that my hand touches, you're just not gonna be that confident in it because you know me. Sure. So a lot of things that our people don't believe is because the so-called white man and the other nations had their hands, so to speak, on this book. But now, one thing about it, we know that the Most High God's words live forever. Right. So I want to show you something real quick. Give me that. Leviticus 18. Let me just get 6. Just right.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 6.
Bring it out.
None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am the Most High.
So the Most High is going through all of the fornicating acts that one could commit. Homosexuality, bestiality, incest, anything of that sort. But it always goes back to uncovering someone's nakedness who is not your wife. So when you're looking at dirty things on the internet, right, you are now looking at someone's nakedness that you should not. So the Bible does address you not doing those things.
Right.
So I understand what you mean by when it says not current life. But now give me Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. Give me Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. Because this is the thing about it. When you say current life, you're speaking about culture. What's accepted and what's not accepted. Because at one time, this whole LGBTQ movement wasn't widely accepted. But now it's promoted, and it's accepted, and now it's promoted. Right. So now, let's just say 100 years ago, there would be nothing wrong with you saying homosexuality is a sin or homosexuality is evil. If you say it today, though, there's consequences. Now, how did that change? Surely not by God's standard, but by who? By men's standards, right? So now read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren,
right,
by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice,
right,
holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Read.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed,
right,
by the renewing of your mind.
By the what?
By the renewing of your mind.
Read.
That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
Now, I don't know the person's name, but there was a clip, and this man was speaking to this young lady, and they were talking about single parent households.
All right.
Now, where are you from?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. All right. You live in a predominantly white neighborhood?
That's where I came from.
Okay. So you live here now?
Yeah.
Amongst, I would say, more Hispanics and blacks? Or you still in a more predominantly white neighborhood?
That's what you said before was the primary composition.
Okay.
All three.
Okay, so how is a man getting a woman pregnant and then leaving her? How is that looked at in the white community?
He'd be looked at, he'd be called like a deadbeat dad. He would be judged harshly for that, negatively for that. He'd be considered a bad person. I would say that. Okay, so, and that's exactly what the dude said, right? That it's frowned upon in the white community. Now, we have songs that glorify it. We do it like it's second nature. But the reason why these things happen is because we are indeed the children of God. And when the Most High ordained us to keep His law, statutes, and commandments, if we didn't do that, there were going to be consequences that would happen to us. Right. So I'm educating you on what you see as quote unquote black culture. It's not us per se, but it is us when we're in the mindset of conforming to this world. Right. So that you understand the difference. Because the things that you would see the average black man do, you won't see done amongst these brothers here. Right. Or any of our people who have repented. But the thing about it is that God never gave the so-called Caucasian race a way of living. You guys just kind of live how you live. But for us, as God's chosen people, we've been given a way to live. So once we go outside of that way of living, it's very apparent to the other nations around us, which is why no matter where we go in the world, we're talked about in a negative light. Oh, black people do this. We can't even like a food without getting talked. Oh, they like water. Damn, what's wrong with liking watermelon, bro? I like the watermelon. Oh, they love fried chicken. Oh, well, damn. So anything we do, it's scrutinized. But the reason why it's like that is because we stepped out of following the ways of God. Now, everything that I'm saying, I'm seeing that you're receiving. Now, here's another thing that the Most High God says, right? So the Most High is a just God. You believe that, right? I can believe it. Right. So now, you have children? You want to have children? Yeah. All right. You have a child, son, firstborn. Love him to death. Someone takes his life. When you say, let's say news comes to your house, such and such, what would you like to see happen? And you say, I want justice for my son. What are you really saying? So probably punishment.
Yes. What kind of punishment?
So typically for murder, the most appropriate punishment is death penalty.
Correct. And that would be justice. Nobody couldn't say, damn, that don't sound real just. It is. Because he killed my son. Then he should die. It's a natural thought that even though you're a white man, I'm a so-called black man, we can agree that it's a natural thought that if somebody kills our children, that person should die. Yes? Read.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 9.
Read.
If any man have an ear, let him hear.
So it's saying if anyone can comprehend it, let him comprehend it. Just like we spoke, it was an easy comprehension. You didn't ask me to explain or rephrase my question. You understood exactly what I said, and I understood your response. Read.
He that leadeth into captivity.
It says that he that leads into captivity, read,
shall go into captivity.
shall go into captivity, read.
He that killeth with the sword.
He that killed with the sword, read.
Must be killed with the sword.
So now, let's apply that to the history we know to happen between so-called blacks and Hispanics and Caucasians. Blacks and Hispanics were taken into captivity by Caucasians. They were enslaved, raped, robbed, murdered, pillaged, all type of things by so-called Caucasians. Not only Caucasian people, but that's like the prominent slavery that is the world is educated about. We were in the slave. We were under slavery under the Egyptians. We were under slavery under the Arabs. Right? We were under captivity under the Moabites. So there's been a lot of other nations who's had us under captivity throughout the ages. But this one specifically is one that has reached the four corners of the earth. So now, do you believe it's just that the people who enslave and kidnap the people have that happen to them in return? Do you believe that that's just? Now remember, I want you to use the same logic and line of reasoning that you used in my previous question. Don't change it up now. Same logic and line of reasoning. Do you believe it's just for people who kidnap a people, enslave them, that should happen to them?
So what I would say is, for that previous example, the underlying logic was that for the crime committed, that
Yes.
the response was equivalent.
Yes, correct.
Right. So if we then say this other crime,
Yeah. Come through real quick. I want you to hear this discussion real quick. So just to catch you up to speed, right? I asked them a question. I said, if you have children? No. I said, if you have a son, right? Your son gets gunned down. The reporters come to your house and ask you, what do you want to be done about this? And you say, I want justice. What does that mean? What would you really be saying? Yeah, you said, they ask you, what do you want? What do you want to see happen
One time asked me
for your son? And you say, I want justice. What are you saying? That you want the person who killed your son to what? To die. That's a logical line of reasoning, correct? So now, what I asked him was, the scripture says this, read that, read it again. Real quick. Appreciate your patience.
Sure.
Right?
The book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 9.
bring it out.
If any man have an ear, let him hear.
So just like you were able to comprehend the question I just asked you before, I want you to comprehend this that's about to be read. Read.
He that leadeth into captivity
He that leads into captivity, read.
shall go into captivity.
So let's just say we take the killing example. The man who kills somebody should be killed, correct?
Yeah.
Just like what that just said, the man who takes somebody in captivity, he shall go into captivity, right? Read.
He that killeth with the sword
He that killeth with the sword, read.
must be killed with the sword.
Which goes back to the example I just asked, right? You kill somebody with a gun, now you're gonna get killed, right? Now, I then asked them the question. It is true that Caucasian people took black and Hispanics, captivated them, right? Bring them to lands that they weren't familiar with, yes? And then enslaved them there, agreed? Now, using the same line of reasoning that I asked you and that I asked him, wouldn't it be just for so-called Caucasian people to then go into a state of captivity, seeing that they put people into a state of captivity? Wouldn't that be just? Okay, now, we deal with reason up here. What was your reason for saying that the man who killed your son should die? Why was that reasonable?
It's all based on emotions. It's
No.
not based on.
No. It's not has anything to do with emotion. Even if it wasn't your son, if it was somebody else's son in the neighborhood, you would still want the same justice. It doesn't have to happen like that. When we watch these police shootings that happen in states that we've never been to, it's not about emotion. It's about justice. Because when that police officer gets paid leave, you get upset. Because you can't rationalize how you kill somebody and then get a paid vacation. That doesn't make sense to you. What's your name? Hey, Chris, that don't make sense, Chris. So now, we're going back here. People led another group of people into captivity. And remember, we're reading out the scriptures now. And the scriptures say that the one who leads into captivity has to go back into captivity. How is that not just? By what reasoning do you have to say that it's not just? And I'm gonna ask you the same question.
Like, if you're looking for revenge and you're trying to put the white people in captivity, so you got dig, and you gotta find the people that had slave owners. Most white people, they were slaves. They were slaves from Europe that came over here, and they were weak slaves. They were slaves that wasn't able to be slaves, so they became white trash. They became thrown in the street, or you can't be a slave, so they got stronger people, which is black people. Our genetic were stronger, faster. They got better. They upgraded the slave.
So I got your reason. So your reasoning would be that the punishment wouldn't be directly executed towards the one who actually committed the crime.
Exactly. You
Gotcha.
don't know who it is.
Okay, cool. What about you? What would be your reasoning for saying that it's not just?
All right, so there are a lot of different things I should say. First thing is with the murder example, and the underlying principle for both cases should be that justice is based on balance.
Okay.
If you look at the classic symbol of justice, it's the scales. We take the weight of the crime and let's match the weight of the punishment.
Correct, I agree.
Right. So, and then next, also, people say if you commit, if one person commits a wrong act and another person commits a wrong act, that's going to perpetuate more wrong.
Okay.
So if one person commits an evil act and the evil act is committed in return, then that just perpetuates more evil. So if you are going to give a punishment for evil acts, we have to make sure it's not additional evil.
All right. Now, are you familiar with slavery? Okay. Are you familiar with slavery? All right. Now, I'm going to show y'all what caused the slave trade to take place. All right? I'm going to show y'all in the Bible that the Bible speaks and prophesied about the slave trade even before it happened. So I'm going to show y'all who did it, and I'm going to show y'all why it happened. Read.
15?
Yes.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15.
So just so you understand, the children of God are called the Israelites, correct? They are the chosen nation of God. God signed a covenant, aka a contract with them that said, if you keep my commandments, you will be blessed. If you break my commandments, you will be cursed. We all can agree blessings would be a good thing, curse would be a bad thing. Yes? All right, so now let's read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15.
Read it out.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Right.
to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes,
Right.
which I command you this day, that all these curses,
Then all these what?
that all these curses
Read.
shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So the scripture just said what? When we don't listen to the Most High God, there's curses that come upon us and take us. Yes? Now, give me verse 68. So from verse 15 down to verse 68, God lists the curses that would happen to the Israelites. And I 1000% confidently can say, if you were to go home and read Deuteronomy 28, every curse that you would read, you would find out that that is in fact what people consider life as a black man. Guaranteed. Everything that you read about these curses will reflect what we have, not necessarily you today, but now you have to look back in time as far as we can to see the treatment of our people. Now read that.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68.
Read it out.
And the Most High,
And the who?
and the Most High
It says, and the Lord, read.
shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
When our people left Egypt, they walked out, right? Moses parted the Red Sea through the power of God. They walked. They didn't need a ship. But what were their conditions? What was the Israelites' condition in Egypt? What were they? Were they business partners? Were they law-abiding citizens? What were they? They were slaves, yes? That's the whole thing. Moses, let my people go, right? because they were slaves. So the Most High God said that if you disobey my commandments, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again with ships. But he's using Egypt to be synonymous with a place of bondage and slavery. So he said, I'm going to send you into a place of slavery with ships. Now, to you guys' knowledge of the transatlantic slave trade, what mode of transportation was used for the slaves?
Across the Atlantic, ships.
They were ships, specifically cargo ships, right? That would transport cargo. So now you're transporting humans on a cargo ship. Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
Now, just ironically, no slave ship went to the land of Israel. Kind of suspicious. Why would I kidnap somebody and then bring them home?
Right.
We went everywhere else, bro, except for the land of Israel, because they understood that we were God's chosen people, the Israelites. Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon. We're the people of the book. Read.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
And he says we weren't going to see our homeland again. Now, there have been some of our people who have went back, but the way that we're supposed to be living over there as a nation, the way that you're supposed to be able to go in your backyard and actually be able to grow seeds that have, grow grapes that have seeds, or be able to wake up knowing that your the air that you're breathing in isn't being laced with chemtrails, that's what it means to be back in your land. Read.
And there ye shall be sold.
It says there, your land of captivity, read.
Unto your enemies.
You're going to be sold unto your enemies, read.
For bondmen.
For what?
For bondmen.
For bondmen, read.
And bondwomen.
And bondwomen, read.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man's going to redeem you out of that position. So no matter if you get a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, a Marcus Garvey, any type of freedom fighter, Black Panther, or black activist, the Lord put us in this position. Now y'all say y'all don't have children, but let's say y'all did. Your child does something wrong. You put him in timeout. I come over your crib, Chris. Let the man play. You gonna look at me crazy because it's your house and you got your child on punishment and he get off when you say so. So the Lord put us in this position. Why? Because we broke God's commandments.
Right.
Now, he used the so-called Caucasian people to do so, but it's the Lord that gave us this judgment. Nonetheless, give me Ezekiel 35:5. I'm bringing this to both of your understandings because when we talk about trying to mend the relationship between so-called black and white people, it'll never happen. Because the scripture just said that you will be sold unto your who? Unto your enemies. Which would mean that the so-called black man and the so-called white man are natural enemies. It just didn't start today. Or it just didn't start when we got over here. We have been natural enemies from the day that we were both birthed. Right? Alright? Read. And that's the thing about it, right? Nothing that I said was crazy. I wasn't speaking crazy. I didn't disrespect you. I didn't disrespect him. I'm just drawing I'm just trying to illustrate what the scriptures are saying and what we're experiencing today. He now might have felt some way that because Christianity is everybody's together.
Right.
But the scriptures don't say that.
Right.
The scriptures, in fact, say that the Most High separated the nations when we look at Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8.
Okay.
So we understand that the Most High does deal with separation. But amongst the Israelites, he wants unity. So now let's read.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5.
Read.
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
So we're speaking about Edom, right?
Shalom, shalom, family. This is your brother Captain Asab. Listen, if you are in the Miami, Florida area and you would like to do the work of the Most High, send us an email to lozmdc12@gmail.com, or you can contact us via Instagram at TheELOZMiami. Shalom.
Standing in all black with them shields on post, watching, they all my
Gold is precious, but loyalty is priceless. Harm on the mind might leave you like